All right, everybody, how you doing? This is Captain Jack here, and a little bit of wackiness because I'm learning some of the idiosyncrasies that you get a chance to do while working these issues. And Ken understands. My next guest, Ken Thomson, who works for SportsXRadio and KDWN out in Vegas. I don't have all of those fancy schmancies that they have for a quote unquote real studio, but not bad for a garage. Well, it's not my garage; it's my added room. But you know how you have like a garage studio. So without further ado, and yes, Vicky, it is early. I want to say thank you for that. My guest, Mr. Ken Thomson. Ken, I want to make sure you're still on the line. How you doing, sir?
Captain Jack, yes, I can tell you many of broadcasting nightmares as I got rolling and trying to figure out different equipment throughout the years, especially when I was calling college basketball back in the day. I just remember getting to some unique setups to where there was always something else that you had to try and figure out on your own. And if you didn't figure it out, you weren't going to be on the air. So somehow, some way, you were able to pull it off. And some crazy stories throughout the years for sure.
Yeah, and what I'm also doing right now, Ken, is I'm heading over. I know we are broadcasting live on YouTube. That much I got. So I know the stream is going out there. What I don't know is I want to see here if I can get to it because I tell you, slow internet, gotta hate it. And I only have a couple things up too. I
Well,
want
you
to.
got to start paying a little more for the dial-ups. It went out. I know you're trying to save a few pennies, you frugal son of a gun.
Well, it's not pennies, and it is real quote unquote FiOS, but it's one of those things where I want to make sure that we're actually on, and so I see comments, so I know that
I
I.
wasn't sure because all of a sudden I heard in the background, "You got mail."
Boy, I tell you, you're throwing it, man. You're telling me I'm so damn cheap that I'm on AOL, man. That's horrible. That's horrible. I love you, brother, but man, I tell you, good and good for you. So again, I want to say thank you for our folks that are on. Let me see when I get rid of some of this crap pop-ups. I see Don Raider Webb is here. Hey, Don's in your neck of the woods as well in Vegas. So Don's definitely there. I know that David Givner is there. Gris Slentz. Raider G is on the line as well via comments, and Richard Angeles with the proper enunciation. Those are the folks that are watching on Facebook. So I thank them. Remember, I keep telling you folks, and I'll say it every time out, is if you're not on YouTube, please head over to YouTube. I mean, if you get over to YouTube and you are going to be there for the giveaways. Ken, I don't know if you saw the picture I had on Instagram and Facebook and other things, but I'm giving away a big Raider prize pack, with car mats, a watch, a flag, a football, like two plaques. One has like a pin set, and the other one shows like Raider Super Bowl stuff. I'm missing things. Ray Guy commemorative, Al Davis commemorative, which is actually the little black rubber thing that they used to give you when you went to see him at the Chapel of the Chimes. I don't even know if they're doing that anymore, but I grabbed a few of them from years ago to make sure that I have them in prize packs. So I got a bunch of different things going on, and even a pirate Captain Jack bottle opener. So you can't beat that. And that's just for subscribing for free. So hopefully we'll get some of those subscriptions out. And I say this to you now, I am always ready, willing, able to go on your show because I enjoy being on your show because it's really just it makes me feel good that I can contribute to you. And again, Ken, apologies. I'm running things here on the video and the other things, and talking while I do it. First off, I want. Do you recall when you met me?
Gosh darn, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, no, you'll have to know. And if you hear a dog bark in the background. So my daughter's German Shepherd, like the greatest dog ever, Bella. And this dog is like only 3 years old, but literally a champion. I mean, it's got the speed of Henry Ruggs III, and I just took her running, chasing the ball. So my daughter just cruised over. My daughter Kiara came over to get her dog Bella. So, but I'm telling you, this German Shepherd looks like a Raider dog. I mean, I'm telling you, throw a Raider jersey on, and this dog's ready to fly, man. Just love throwing the ball with the dog and stuff. But I can't, Captain Jack. I'm trying to think. First time I met you, my God, man. I don't think it was at the charity event. Was it up in Northern California?
No, sir. It was actually at Raider Fan Convention in Arizona a couple years back. I think it was 2 years back, because I know that they canked this past year, and that they didn't have the event this year. Yeah, they canceled this year, and then last year I wasn't able to go, and that really kind of bummed me out. So I was there. I was dressed up. Tom Flores was the special guest, and
Tom's awesome, man. I mean, this guy, of course, should be in the Hall of Fame. It's like one of the biggest travesties NFL-wise. Coach Flores, Cliff Branch, Piana. We could go on and on, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I actually had a great Silver and Black State party down at Fat Tuesdays over there by Cardinal Stadium over there in Glendale last year. And then, I love going there. And, of course, got a house in Phoenix. I'm actually heading there this weekend. And, ironically, the only Raider preseason game will be against the Cardinals here, the only one as far as in Vegas on August 27th. That'll be the first Raider game, as long as everything goes to hopefully according to plan. I'm a glass half full guy. I understand politics get in the way of sports. If I got into that, man, forget about it. It'd be a different show, but is what it is. But I just have a feeling the NFL walks to the beat of its own drum, and I just have a feeling that somehow, some way, things are going to get going. I don't know how many fans or even if they'll have fans in the stands. I'm praying that they will. But media-wise, I will make sure that I am not going to miss a game here in Vegas, and try and make as many of the road games as I can as well, Captain.
Well, there you go. And that was one of the questions that I had for you. I have a spot list, and I wanted to do that. And it's like, since you are sitting there in Vegas and you are within the realm of the folks that actually know stuff, because you are in the media, you are in Vegas, so you got both your media connections, your NFL connections, and your team connections. And is there a little bit of diversity there of like kind of the counteraction of what one guy says to what another guy says, and you're just kind of the mingle everything together and figure out what the actual truth is?
I'll tell you what, it's California kind of walked to the beat of its own drum. So when they initially came out and said, we're not doing anything till the end of July, that was where it was kind of taboo. And of course, I cover all the sports. So when you had, UNLV, of course, will be playing at Allegiant Stadium, Raider Stadium as well. You had San Jose State, San Diego State, and Fresno State. They were all kind of in limbo. They didn't know what's going on as far as, are they going to be able to play college games at all? From what I understand now, with the governor softening his stance because Arizona opened up, pretty much completely. I mean, they're like 2 phases ahead of California. So, people are flocking down there. They're going to the casinos down in Arizona. They're going to, get their nails done and this and their hair and all this stuff that Vegas is just kind of limping around in California as well. So, it just seems like, the country, which we know has been divided for a while, just seems to be divided this way as well. And when you start bringing politics into, you're a serviceman, I'm a veteran. I mean, when you start, putting politics ahead of the country, of being an American, there's just no place for it. And, what do you wait for? You wait for tragedy, you wait for 9/11 situations, before the country bonds together as American. I mean, Captain Jack, I could care less if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. At the end of the day, when you're fighting, stuff like this as a nation, you've got to come together. That's why politics should be the furthest things from anybody's mind. But unfortunately, we see it, and it's chaotic. It really is. It's absolute chaos in our own country. So as far as sports, with some people, they're on the back burner. With others, they feel, as this country, sports is high up as far as for us, especially everyday blue-collar, hard workers, even white-collar, but people that work their ass off that aren't used to millions of dollars, or people like Blake Snell or Kershaw coming out and going, I don't want to play for half the money even though I'm playing for half the season. Look, when you're making $3.5 million for half the season, we don't give a crap. We don't want to hear about it. Look, I have no problem with people getting what they deserve in their workplace, but at the end of the day, you've got millions of people out of jobs right now. You've got millions of people losing their businesses, losing their life savings. So we can't relate, nor do we want to relate to that part of the business as far as sports. What we do want to relate to is the activity, whether it's in an octagon like Dana White and UFC, putting on 3 of them in the last week. I mean, stuff like that. We need that to get our country back to some type of normalcy, to where people that are going through tough times are at least going to have a place to channel some of their emotions and enjoy some activities that are going to keep their mind off, basically worlds falling apart or having to, be readjusted. So it's tough times. I just have a feeling the NFL, to me, has never wavered. They didn't waver on continuing the draft. Yes, we know it was moved from Las Vegas to Roger Goodell's, man cave. We'll get reimbursed in 2022 out here in Vegas. But that was a blessing in disguise. It would have been 750,000 people here, and with that many people in close quarters and the city being sold out, it could have been a real travesty as far as, the COVID-19 SARS-2, being contagious. That said, out here in Vegas, Captain Jack, we all feel the reason the numbers are so low on the West Coast, and this is a good chunk of people that I'm connected to in the medical fields and also, in different aspects, very successful people, that we feel that Las Vegas, a city that gets 45 million visitors a year, was inundated with this stuff back in late December. Well, look, we know the Chinese government never let us know about what was going on until weeks and weeks had gone by. Flights were stopped in and out of this country from China January 31st. However, in China itself, you couldn't fly from Wuhan, China, his supposed origin, to anywhere else in China. You couldn't fly to Peking or Beijing. They stopped domestic flights there. However, international flights were still ready and available up until January 31st, which means New Year's Eve, Las Vegas, CES, Consumer Electronics, biggest trade show in this country as far as, new innovation. People look forward to it. You had 30% coming from the Far East for that show alone. That was from January 4th through January 10th. And then Chinese New Year here in Vegas is a very big holiday. I do my radio show at the Venetian Palazzo. It's a big-time event over there and many other strip hotels. So that was January 25th. So we feel very strongly that the COVID-19 SARS-2 was here on the West Coast. And that's why the numbers are so low, because that herd immunity did come into play. And I think you'll see that in the very near future with all these antibodies tests getting more and more diversified as far as complex with more information. In fact, from what I understand from a group I'm connected to, there will be an antibodies test by the middle or end of June that will not only show you whether or not you have antibodies in your system from the SARS-2, COVID-19, but also will break it down for all 14 coronaviruses, including COVID-19, to let you know how high your antibody count is. That in turn will let you know if you're going to have, immunity. And these are all key things as far as us moving forward as a society and getting back into stadiums and arenas, things like that. But I think the NFL plans on moving forward, and, they're just waiting it out. And I think you'll know probably by, I'll say, third week of July. I figure the NFL will step forward and let you know whether or not there's going to be people invited in the stands, whether they have to move the season back a week or two to make that happen, or maybe they start out with a game or two with no fans. But I think if there's any chance of having fans in the stands, the NFL...
Good. That's very good to hear. And again, since you are in Vegas, and the majority of people that watch this show are, I would say 99% of the folks that are my constant viewers are Raiders fans. I actually got a really cool, Stiller fan who calls in every show. It might be a little bit early for him, so I might have thrown him off on the calls, but, great guy. But the thing is that as Raider fans, since we want to know, especially me, because I have my season tickets out there, and it pained me that as soon as the season tickets became available, I had to put them all up. Well, okay, 2/3 of them, they're up for sale already, because I can't imagine going out early just to see what's going on, because I'm afraid with my health conditions that I have, and my viewers know I got some health conditions out there. I don't want to put myself into a situation where I'm a detriment to my own health, because God knows I don't want to catch this crap if I didn't have it before. And you were talking about this antibody test, and you said when is this coming out? Did you say that that it's?
Yeah, there's a company, Sensiva, that I'm actually working with right now. They've got a pretty good test as far as antibody wise, but it's a plus minus to let you know yay or nay if you have antibodies for the COVID-19 SARS-2. And again, there's 14 total coronaviruses. So when you hear coronavirus, it's a broad statement. It's a blanket statement over all these coronaviruses over the years. But it's COVID-2, and it's listed as, or COVID-19 is listed as SARS-2,
Right.
SARS-2, and that is COVID-19. This test is supposedly going to be out middle to late June, and this is the one that's going to break down the amount of antibodies for all 14 of the coronaviruses, but it's really important, basically the SARS-2 COVID-19, to find out how high your antibody count is. That will let you know, once they figure out the amount of antibodies that you will need, as far as to be immune and not get it again, not have a chance to get it again. For most things like chickenpox, we understand, that's why we remember our parents, old school people remember their parents taking them to chickenpox parties. Somebody had chickenpox, the parents were like, okay, cool, I want my kid to get it, because you don't want to wait till you're an adult to get it for the first time, because then it could be detrimental. But there's things like that throughout the years, with whether it's polio, whether it's smallpox, things like that. We've come together as a society, we've gotten information. But bottom line is, you can't just keep everybody in their own house forever, as far as to think that's going to combat it. It's basically, you're never going to strengthen your immune system to anything like this. I tell you, Captain Jack, straight up, I was as sick as I'd ever been early January for about a 5-day period. In fact, I canceled 2 weeks in a row on a national podcast, on Podcast One, which has 200,000 to 300,000 listeners, on a college football podcast I did with Brad Powers on pregame. And I canceled twice. And the second time that I canceled, the owner guy kind of ticked off. And I said, look, I can go there. I said, the bottom line is I can't speak for more than a minute and a half without having to cough and hit a mute button. And I said, I don't want to really get any of you guys exposed to and sick. Now, I'm thinking I'm fighting off a regular flu. We've all had the flu before. But this was just like one of these flus. And then after I had gotten through the sweats and the chills and all that, that 4 or 5 day period, and started feeling a little better, appetite coming back, everything, that's when, for about a 5.5, 6 week period, I could not get rid of this stupid, nagging little cough. And it wasn't a loose cough. It wasn't something that, you felt like was getting better. It was just one of these things. I was like, God dang it, man. How can I get rid of this thing? And for somebody that's in broadcasting, that's on the air 5 nights a week, a 2-hour show, 5 nights a week, I knew, because I knew the amount of times I had to hit the mute button, and then after asking questions, and then I also knew the times that when I went to commercial, I'd go out in the hallway and I coughed my head off for about, a good 2-minute spell. And so it was really frustrating. It was aggravating, but I don't think I had any idea that I'm fighting off, SARS-2 COVID-19 coronavirus. I'm thinking I'm just fighting off the flu, and all of us have had the flu, where we're like, gosh dang it, I know I got the flu, but screw this, I got to get back to work. And I had a sister who's a teacher, same thing. She's taking NyQuil, DayQuil, everything, because we're just like, we're not going to be kept out of the workplace. We're going to forge through, and we're going to kick its ass, and basically that's the way we're going to go. But it wasn't that easy. And so in retrospect, looking back, and there's about 20, 25 people, Captain Jack, in my circle that we feel strongly all had this COVID-19 SARS-2. And I think because Vegas, California, understand Silicon Valley is a big-time area, Los Angeles, San Diego, all coming in for the consumer electronics, there's a good chance that this stuff was spread out through the states on the West Coast. Yes, the weather probably helped because it's warmer out here, but I'm thinking that's why the numbers are so low per capita, per 1 million. California's numbers are almost as low as any state in the country, Nevada's as well. And then you look at New York, New Jersey, thinking back to the Super Bowl, right? First weekend in February. I mean, how many of those reporters were New York, New Jersey reporters going back? 30% going back. And those two states are on top of each other. I grew up in Jersey, one of the most densely populated states in the country. So that's why I think the amount of people that were catching it, especially the elderly who weren't protected, and it was a real travesty as far as the way the senior citizens homes are set up in those two states, really coming back to haunt them. But there's a lot of things that we learned, and one of the main things we learned, Captain Jack, and you know it, is that we've got to be self-sufficient. We can't rely on China for stuff like that. I don't mean to get off tangent as far as Raiders talk and whatnot, but all this comes into play if we're going to get back to any type of normalcy, and that includes NFL football and Raider games. So where we are right now, as far as the home games and whatnot, and season tickets, we've got 4 of them as well, down on the 5-yard line, row 9, first 4 seats. So we're praying, but main thing is we want to make sure people are safe, but at the same time, most of my friends, we're not just going to live in quarantine the rest of our lives either.
Yeah. Now, as you've been stating, and this is kind of like a 2-part question. And again, don't worry, man, because the COVID-19 talk as well as the Raiders sports talk, especially with these 2 questions, they are intermingled. So you're not going off on tangents, because you are ground zero for Raider Nation, and the fact that the Raiders are going to be there for training camp up in Henderson. They're going to be playing their games there. And, we need to know what to be expected. So how has Vegas opened up so far? And we're talking late May right now, May 20th, for those that are actually paying attention. How has Vegas itself opened up presently, and what's the plans for Vegas to open up? I know in Florida we've opened up first phase. We're going to be getting into the second phase real soon. I might be going back to work sometime soon, but again, because I'm a health risk, I was actually out before all the other people said stay home. So I might be going back later than other people because of my health concerns. Hey, either way, I don't care, just as long as I'm providing a service, and hey, those paychecks don't stop. And like I said, so you are in Vegas. You, as a reporter for KDWN and SportsX, what do you do in the studio, and how does Vegas itself right now go about opening itself up more and more as the spring and summer progresses?
Yeah, first off, Georgia and Florida, ahead of the curve, and Arizona really ahead of the curve, opening up last Saturday, including opening their doors to all professional sports activities. And, people being able to get back into groups somehow, still trying to keep the social distancing somewhat as far as, too many people in one group. But, there's households that are having barbecues now where, you're less than 10. They're doing it. I mean, look, you can say social distancing, and people can look themselves in the mirror and understand that, there's been a lot of people, family members, whatnot, that have gotten together, that they know darn well they're not 6 feet apart at all times. There's just no way. I mean, I remember how weird it was. Like, I went to a barbecue birthday party. There was only 8 of us, family members, but my mother-in-law came up to give me a hug, She's 78 years old. I know that I'm in good shape now. Like I said, I feel strongly, and I'll know June 1st when I take this antibody test, but I feel strongly that if it's something that I had, that I'm not contagious, that it's, but I know I feel strong now that I haven't had anything since, late January. And, again, I'll have those numbers. But there are times, too, that we've seen as far as people that have no symptoms, that don't know. So it is a little bit, up in the air. People just are concerned, and rightly so. This is something, there is no vaccine yet. There is no cure yet. So we've got to, grab data as we go and understand that, we're going to do the best we can. But people like yourself with underlying conditions, or the elderly, the average age of people that are dying is 80 years old. That's the average age of people that are succumbing to this. People under 40, there's the odds of you dying from this, you got a better chance getting hit by a car. So, it is what it is, but, and again, we're collecting more and more data. Initially, there was really nothing as far as children, but now they've come out and they said there are some things, and there's more blood clotting going on in certain systems. And then there's a lot of people as well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are numbers of people that have died at a younger age that had an underlying condition that they never knew about. They just never knew about it. They were never tested for it, so they never knew they had it. For those that know basketball, Pistol Pete Maravich died at early 40s, had an enlarged heart, actually had a hole in his heart. When they did the autopsy, said he should have died at 20. Never knew he had it, but he was in that good a shape that he was like a freak. Like when they saw it, they said, oh my God, how this guy ever lived an additional 20 years was amazing. But there's a lot of people that have succumbed to different ailments that they died from because they've had underlying conditions but just never do it. And so you'll see those numbers as well. So, it's a crazy time, Captain Jack, but I really think that by the end of June that we're going to have a pretty good handle on what's going on as far as the sports world. UFC was supposed to be here in Vegas on the 23rd. It's been shifted, that UFC event, to the 30th. Vegas has still not opened their doors as far as sports. So Dana White, the president of UFC, is waiting. And if Vegas doesn't know by Saturday, which is when Governor Sisolak is supposed to come on and address Las Vegas again in the state of Nevada, then he will move that event to Phoenix, Arizona. But I have a feeling that, Nevada and California, which have shifted their stances on some of this stuff, are starting to soften up. Why? Because other states are opening up, and they are willing to take events from those states that are monetary events, that are, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's the Dodgers and the A's and the Giants and the Angels and the Padres all moving their games to Arizona. All of a sudden now California is softening their stance because they don't want to lose that money potentially if there is going to be money. Same thing goes with the football, whether it's college or pro, because when you start doing a blanket statement like Governor Newsom did over in California, say, well, we're closed till the end of July, and you do that 2 months in advance when other states are just going a couple weeks at a time and trying to update on phases. Everybody wants to be careful, but you can't just shut down everything. Like California's already done that for colleges throughout throughout the end of the year. All those classes are going to be done online. And I just thought, you know what? It's premature. You're doing that, and you've done that. And now there's a lot of universities that are going to lose a ton of money. Why? Because kids are realizing now, why the hell am I going to pay $40,000-$50,000 to go to USC, UCLA, or go to one of these schools when I can have my kid take these online classes, and so they miss out on the college experience. But we're going to save $160,000 over 4 years or whatever. So I think all this stuff's coming into play. Bottom line is safety is first and foremost. We get that, but then money and crippling the economy, and also understanding people's livelihood and businesses and jobs, all that stuff, Captain Jack, is all coming into play. And here in Vegas, we'll find out Saturday. That's when Sisolak comes on and lets us know whether or not you're going to be able to go into casinos in the near future. Right now, there's no date set as far as going back into the casinos. We've heard June 1st, and then we've heard July 4th weekend. All this stuff being thrown out there. But I have a feeling by the end of June, I think most of the casinos will be open. They have their own plans in place, but those could be null and void, as there were several casinos, including Treasure Island and a couple others, that took reservations for this Memorial Day weekend, but because the governor is not addressing everyone till Saturday, they had to cancel those plans. So there's just so much up in the air. But I really feel that some of the states that are behind the curve are being pressured now to where they see other states that have gone forth and forward and that are having decent success, that they don't want to be left behind.
Again, if you're joining us right now, on the line with me is my good bud, Ken Thomson from SportsXRadio and KDWN in Vegas, giving us a plethora, a cornucopia, a oodlesome. I can go on with the adjectives, because all of this information, good information of what it's like for politically, sports, and all the things about the coronavirus, because we all want to know. And again, apolitical. We are talking about this in an apolitical way, but the one thing that you did mention, and I will put this out, is that politics and money and people's lives all intermix and intermingle. So we're all looking to get back. Again, if you are on Facebook, please come over to YouTube. The YouTube is in at the top. I need to get a YouTube link here on this one. I apologize. It just says youtube.com. Look for Captain Jack Rackham on YouTube. I'm going to get this graphic squared away. I had some things I had to do. And actually, I was out before the show, Ken. It was the first time I've been out in at least 10 days to 2 weeks. I had to get if you see the slide over here, I had to get one of those, the skinny light bulb things. In fact, I'd never seen one before. I had to get one of those, and I had to get a light from my other Raider thing. And I'm in Lowe's, which is, I don't know if you have Lowe's. I would think you have Lowe's out there.
Yeah, we do.
I'm in a Lowe's, and like you were saying about that social distancing thing, this guy is right up on me, man. And I'm moving away a little bit. And, and I understand we're both looking at the same section. I get it. I had my mask on, but I'm so very uncomfortable. I don't like going out at all, and I'll feel better when they do, when they do have a vaccine. But he was up on me, and then I moved away. Then I had to go back to the same section, and I'm kind of like not giving him the FU stare, but he knows it's like, dude, I need to go in there, and I moved away, and you're in there, and you need to move away because I don't want to be nowhere near you. Okay, I'm sorry, and you know me, I am very personable. I'm very hug a brother, kiss a sister, kiss the ladies. I can't be me until this gets resolved, and that's why we're going to figure it out. Again, if you're on Facebook, please head on over to YouTube, best video, best audio. And again, you sign up for my YouTube's channel, and you'll be in on the run for those Raider items. I want to say that we are joined overseas. Kel Rogers and Tommy Bouchane are joining us from the UK. Folks, if you didn't get a chance to, and I will be putting it out real soon, for the guys that are overseas in Europe and overseas in Japan, because I had a couple Japanese people that would charge in and listen. We're going to open up on Skype. You're going to be able to call in on Skype. This way you don't have to worry about spending a boatload of money for regular call-ins. You can call into the show on Skype. We're going to open that up on Thursday nights. And again, this is a special Black Shield and Galleon Wheel webcast Wednesday with Ken Thomson. We're going to have another special show on Friday with Raider linebacker Jerry Robinson. So this is a heads up. Yes, we'll have our normal Thursday show. We're going to have a special show on Friday with Jerry Robinson. I'll put the promo out in a little bit for that. And then on Sunday, again, the one, the only Violator, not Ken, because Ken's talking right now, Wayne Mabry, who is a good friend of Ken. And let's start talking a little bit of the integration with the Raider concepts here. Ken, you got a lot of buddies in Raider Nation, again, with your job. I love your job. I've said it when I was doing the promo before. I said, I want your job, if not necessarily your job, but be in a studio with you, man, because I tell you, talking sports and especially in Vegas and Raiders, that's what I want to do. So first off, how did you get into the broadcasting industry? And then the second question is, amongst your broadcasting that you do, your memories or your best things that you can talk about Raider Nation as a whole.
All right. I got into broadcasting way back when in the 80s. Ended up becoming a sportscaster on an aircraft carrier in the U.S. Navy. Crazy story. 5,500 guys on the USS Ranger. Suckered a buddy into joining with me. We were from Jersey. We ended up, putting down 3 places that we were guaranteed one of them. So San Diego's where we ended up. And I remember, when you join together, you're basically a bosun's mate, which is a glorified janitor on this big ship. But my buddy cross-rated and got into data processing. He wanted to get into the computer world. Wasn't for me. And my other buddy says, hey, the Sportscaster is leaving. And they had a regular, 2-camera operation, news, weather, and sports every night on the ship when we were out at sea. And so I tried out to give you a 20-question quiz. I got 19 of those questions right. I think I missed a lazy track and field question. I'm one of those guys that's, sports almanac. Look, I'm not bragging, but I know more about sports than probably 99% of the country because I'm diversified. I'm not just football. I love my college football. I love the USC fan since I'm a little kid. My dad was Ohio State, but grew up in Jersey. A lot of my buddies, Penn State, Notre Dame, but follow all the teams. I don't care if you're over in Akron, I follow the Zips. If you're in freaking Louisiana Lafayette or Louisiana Monroe, I know them all. Not only do I know them all, I'll tell you if they covered the spread on their last 10 games either. It's like, so I've always loved the game within the game. That's how I resonated to Vegas after I got out of the service. I ended up getting into sportscasting full time. I actually, when I was still in Southern Cal, after I'd gotten out of the service, ended up connecting with Bob Golick, former Raider, and did a radio show with Bob for 4 years. Some great stories, and I talked about one of them on Raider Homer show the other day. That just really love sports all the way around. I don't care if it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey. To me, football's still my favorite sport. If you gave me two things to do, it'd be right there, college football, NFL football. Those two right there. I'm good to go. College basketball would be third, but I follow the NBA, follow the NHL, follow all of it. I don't care if it's a major in golf or tennis, whether it's Wimbledon, French Open, you give me the Masters, the British Open. I'm all over all that stuff. Love it all. I love the UFC, love boxing. I'm old school, so I grew up watching, some of the guys like Ali and Frazier and Norton and then Larry Holmes after that, and then Tyson, and I've met Mike out here in Vegas. And, I've gotten together with a ton of sports personalities throughout the years, from Manny Pacquiao to you name it. And not just sports stars, stars in the musical industry. My brother-in-law is Zach Wilde, Ozzy Osbourne's lead guitar player for 25 years. Zach's married to my sister Barbara Ann for the last 27 years. So, we all grew up in Jersey together, but they're out in California for a long time. Zach actually grew up a big New York Giants fan there in Jersey, but he knows I'm all about silver and black. There's just a ton of things that I enjoy as far as the sports world. But when you get into Raider Nation, like I said on Raider Homer show the other day, there is I don't care what sport it is, and there's some great soccer fan bases from Manchester United, Liverpool, all these great so teams, these club teams, whether they're in Italy or Germany or whatever, South America. I love the World Cup. I won't miss a World Cup match, men's especially, live. The ladies, I get up, got to watch those things live. But there's nothing as far as any sport that I know that has a passionate fan base like Raider Nation. It walks to the beat of its own drum. It is absolutely second to none. Al Davis was from Brooklyn. My dad was from Brooklyn, so kind of like that commonality. And I remember telling Mark Davis, I go, your dad's from Brooklyn. My dad was from Brooklyn. He goes, I'm from Brooklyn. And I'm like, I didn't even think of that. And I was like, talking to him after, we found out the Raiders were moving here. And I know it's tough for the fans from Oakland, because I lived in LA when the Raiders were there, and I know what it was like for those Raider fans out there in the Bay Area to lose that team for 14 years or whatever it was, and then to lose them again. It's crushing. The Raider Nation is Raider Nation. Bottom line, the Raiders could be playing freaking Bismarck, North Dakota. You guys would all go. You would. You'd still support them. It's Raiders. Nobody's ever going to call them Las Vegas Raiders, except maybe some people that live here. You don't think anyone from Oakland or LA is ever going to say, hey, Las Vegas Raiders. No, they're going to call them the Raiders. Raider Nation is what it is. But it's the most passionate fan base, the most eclectic fan base, the most creative fan base. When you look at Captain Jack Rackham, you talked about Violator, Wayne Mabry, this guy's a carpenter, like freaking Haystacks Calhoun for you old school professional wrestling fans. Just absolutely phenomenal, the different characters, and they keep evolving. It's so cool if you can actually think of your own Raider character and then somehow push through to be noticed and accepted by all these different Raider fan bases. There's three. The first time I went down to Phoenix to do my radio show, Captain Jack, a couple years ago, prior to a preseason game, and I actually was hanging out with Jack Squirick, who lives there in Arizona, and of course Lincoln Kennedy's a good bud of mine, does the color commentating with Brent Musburger on the broadcast. But Lincoln's been part of the broadcast team for a long time, one of the best offensive linemen to play the game in the silver and black. All these people, man, they're all over the place. There's 3 fan clubs, Raider fan clubs in Phoenix alone. That's unheard of. There's no other team like that. And there's a lot of fans out here in Vegas and Arizona from other teams, from the Bears to the Cowboys to the Packers, and but nothing like Raider Nation. And think about all the bad teams. I don't want to say bad because we'll always support Silver and Black, but how many teams that have been less than desirable to watch, but yet you guys do it every Sunday. Now some Monday nights back, Thursday night, Sunday night, whatever it is, whenever the Raiders are playing, and they could be 2-12 with 2 games remaining, somehow you'll suck it up and you'll watch them. And that's Raider Nation, man. And it's one of the most incredible fan bases of all sports, like I said. And I'm so blessed that I've connected with so many of them that have been these diehard fans for their entire lives and literally bleed Silver and Black. I think they're the greatest group of all times, Captain Jack.
Well, I tell you, I appreciate being put in with the put together in the same breath. It was one breath, by the way. I checked it out. Yeah, one breath with you and Wayne and myself. You put together, because again, when I met you again in Arizona at the RFC. And actually, before I go on to the next point, so you were undesignated and you struck to be a JO?
Actually was you couldn't be designated. Yes, I tried to cross-grade into journalism, and they were closing that up. And in fact, after I had done the sportscasting for 2 Westpacks, they then said, hey, if you're going to continue and you want to be a journalist, it's a closed rate now. You're going to have to go off to C school or whatever it was, and you have to extend for another 2 years. And I'm like, hey, hold on. I enjoy being a sportscaster, but I'm good there. That's where like Navy, like they tell you, it says what it stands for: never again volunteer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I had some good times, but I was still a kid. I was 18 years old when I went in, and 22 when I got out. And my goal was to get from Jersey to Cali, stay out in Cali after I did my 4 years. That's what I did, and I went on to, get involved in different things, did the acting, the modeling, all that crap, but then got into sportscasting, my true love, and, the Navy's where I started. And I see a lot of questions coming in. Shout out to Don Webb, Ohio State. That's his squad, although he's a Dayton Flyer. By the way, Dayton Flyers, just so you know, to tell you how much Obi Toppin and those guys, I picked them to win the entire thing there, Don Webb. And my good buddy Matt Humans had $200 on them at 200-1. And boy, that was a great story.
He would have cleaned up. He would have cleaned up had they done that.
I'm telling you, that was a great team, and they should have beat Kansas the first time in Hawaii. Lost that game in overtime, but a team that only lost 2 games all year, both in overtime. One to Colorado at the United Center, and one in Hawaii to Kansas. That team was that close to being undefeated, and I think they had a great chance to win the whole thing. So I just saw that, Don Webb. A lot of you guys up there that are chiming in here. And, great stuff. Captain Jack, I love it, man. It's going to be good to, connect. And as long as it doesn't interfere with my show, I'd love to be able to connect with you guys live and make sure to put me on there as a subscriber. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you will be eligible for that Raider prize pack, too. So, yeah,
if I win it, I'll donate it. I'll just tell you that. I'll donate it to one of the other listeners.
I know you would.
Like entering all that stuff, yeah.
I know you would. And I even said for even the non-Raiders that I do have, if they win, I'll give them like a gift card worth, and I'll figure out what the worth is. And then I'm going to put it up again at 900. So this way, if somebody that's not a Raider fan that is a subscriber wins, and I want to make sure this gets said, then you'll get a gift card, one of those like Visa gift cards. I'll keep the stash. Maybe I was looking, I got some hats, but I'm not going to put in the hats until I maybe put in for another prize pack later on. But if I have to give away like the 850 at 9, and I'll throw a hat in there too. So I'll make it worthwhile. Get all of those subscribers up. So I'll be looking for you, Ken. I definitely appreciate you subscribing.
I'll throw in a couple shirts as well for Silver and Black State Shirts, which is my own company. Working on that. For you folks that don't know, Nevada's nickname is the Silver State, and it's about 8:30 in the morning back in 2017 or whenever the Raiders announced they were going to move to Vegas. None of us really thought the Raiders were moving to Vegas. We all thought it was bullshit. We all thought they're playing us as a bargaining chip to get the stadium renovated up in Oakland, or they're going to go to L.A. Well, Kroenke, the owner of the Rams, didn't want the Raiders in L.A. because it's a Raider town, and it's evident there. You just go to a Raider preseason game against the Rams, it's 100% Raider fans.
Oh yeah.
And you go to a Charger game now, forget about it. It's Silver and Black Nation, man. So he didn't want any part. And so here's the thing: it's 8:30 in the morning, and Carolyn Goodman, the mayor of Vegas, introduces Mark Davis. Mark Davis walks up there. He doesn't even say good morning. He just walks up to the microphone. Everybody's looking at him like, who is this guy and what is that haircut all about, man? Just like, it's 8:30 in the morning. It's like, good God, man, who is this guy? But now Raider fans that follow the Raiders, like me, we do. But for most of the people here in Vegas, the reporters, they had no clue. And so he walks up to the microphone and he just says, I'm going to turn the Silver State into the Silver and Black State. And I remember saying, that's so cool, man. Oh, what a great play on words. And then I was like, holy crap, man. All of a sudden the light went on. And I figured he probably already had it protected. But I said, you know what, let me call my sister who had just moved out to Vegas from Jersey. And I called her, and she always has her GoDaddy account open. And I said, sis, buy silverandblackstate.com. She goes, well, all right, I'll search it. And she goes, okay, here it is, $14. Boom, got it, right? So I got it, got home, and I go, well, I better buy .net and .org and cover
Oh,
my
yeah.
ass. So I got those two, and all of a sudden it offers me silverandblackstate.vegas. I'm like, I didn't even know there is a .vegas now, but that was more expensive than .net and .org combined. So I bought that as well. So I put it through the federal trademark, Silver and Black State, and came up with my own logo. Now, for you folks that don't know, and most of you probably do, especially if you've made any type of apparel, the Raiders logo is the only one federally protected in fragments. I'm talking their swords, their patch, their shield. They can cease and desist your ass whenever they want. They don't, for the most part, as long as you're not gouging them as far as any type of sales. They want you to help market this team. It is truly Raider Nation, and they know most of you are out there just doing little bits and pieces here and there. You're not getting rich overnight, quick scheme type stuff. So it came back from the Federal Trademark Office in Washington, D.C., though. Silver and Black State came back denied. I was like, gosh dang it. So talked to my trademark attorney, Ron Boucher, out here in Vegas. I said, Ron, look, here's the deal. We're not using any part of the Raiders logo at all, and we want money to go to the veterans, education, the homeless, right off the top of every purchase of whatever it is, whatever apparel, whatever we do. That's what and that's our goal, and we want it to be a Nevada State brand. It doesn't have to just solely deal with Raiders, but we want it to be a Nevada State brand that helps out in a lot of charitable things. And so we did this, sent it back, and about 3 months later it came back approved. Now, at that time, it still had a 30-day window to where anybody could deny it or oppose it, and nobody did, and the Raiders knew about it. And then I was able to tell Mark Davis about it at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes charity basketball game. And so I think there's some things we're going to be able to do in conjunction. And of course, we want to always donate to RaidersFoundation.org, which is absolutely fantastic. The Raiders weren't here for 2 years before they actually moved here. And they've been raising money for Las Vegas and the state of Nevada, all types of charitable events. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars probably for this state. And I thought it was pretty cool for them to do that. They didn't have to do that, but I thought it was a great way for them to get entrenched into the Las Vegas area and the state of Nevada. So we're throwing some shirts, some Silver and Black State shirts, some Silver and Black State pens that I got 3-sided pens that are pretty darn cool. Throw them in your package there, Captain Jack.
Well, I really appreciate that there, Ken, and I'll make sure. Well, actually, I think you do have my address because I did get the wonderful Christmas card that you guys sent last year, and it's in my collection of things that for Raider-related items, and you're in there, so I appreciate that. If not, I'll send it to you again. But again, so folks, if you're listening, per Ken Thomson, he's going to throw in the Silver and Black State stuff as well, T-shirts and some other tchotchkes. I'll go back to my old school, roots of, Polish Pennsylvania for that. Your Jersey, my family.
Yeah, no, listen, hey, I was born in Reading, Pennsylvania, Berks County, pal.
There you go. And I think I told you Mom was from, technically Port Carbon, which is 2 miles outside of Pottsville, which is where Yingling comes from.
Oh, really? Okay, so all I know is the greatest pretzels in the world are there, and people that don't know the tradition with the mustard on the hot pretzels, I mean, that's an old school thing. And yeah, Mom on Mom's side was Polish and Russian. Dad's side was English and Scottish. So and then my grandfather passed away in Reading, Pennsylvania. He was a coal miner for whatever it was, 35, 40 years. He died of the black lung. So like many did in that area.
Yeah, mom's dad, or my grandfather, who I didn't get a chance to really, both my grandfathers I didn't get a chance to really see. My mom's dad was a coal miner, crackerjack coal miner. He died of
Yep.
that as well. That and alcoholism, but that's really because you work, you get the black lung. There's nothing else to do but drink, and such is life there. And then my other grandfather on my dad's side was the Russian portion of from Long Island when they moved out there from the Bronx originally. So we got the New York thing together as well. And then the military thing. You're my brother, man, for sure.
Hey, Captain Jack, the greatest is my great uncle was from the Bronx. Like, he showed me pictures of the Bronx, like where he grew up, like on a farm. I'm like, what? I go, now after the many times I went to Yankee Stadium on the subway, and go, you could never imagine the Bronx even having any farmland at all. You just look at it, you're like, you got to be kidding me. So, it's just crazy stuff. Yeah, a lot of commonalities. But I'm telling you, Captain Jack, straight up, as far as this Raiders team, it all things considered. In other words, if everything was constant, say we were able to get the season underway September 13th, 14th, that first, I guess, September 10th will be the Thursday night game. But if Raider Nation's able to open up against Carolina on September 13th, I'm telling you straight up, they have the over-under win totals here in Las Vegas. They had it at 7 at the South Point. It was minus 140 to make 100. 7.5 right now at the Superbook over at the Westgate, even money. So whatever you bet, you double, you win. And I already have bets in on the Raiders to go over. I think it's a terrible number by the sports books. I don't think they understand this team. I understand. I understand. A lot of sharp handicappers I know. In fact, I made a bet with Matt Humans. A lot of you may know him from the VSiN Network, from Musburgers Network, and also Brad Powers, who's one of the sharpest college football guys. But both those guys bet me that the Raiders wouldn't finish 500. And, I'll take your money all day. Unless this team, something catastrophically happens to both quarterbacks, there is no way that this team doesn't go 9-7. I have them pegged for 10-6 with an outside shot to be 11-5. The schedule's difficult. The division is much better, improved-wise as far as Denver and the Chargers both improving. Kansas City's Kansas City, but I think we can hang with them. I think we have a chance to split with KC for sure. Look, bottom line is when you have weapons like we have now given to both Carr and Mariota, there's no excuses. We've got one of the best running backs, in Josh Jacobs. We've grabbed some other guys. Hey, look, Richard's one of the best little receivers. Use him as a receiver out of the backfield. That's his strength. When you look at the receiving core now and you bring in a Ruggs the third, there's your speed. Tyrell Williams, remember, he was hurt a lot of the year last year with that banged-up foot. You got Hunter Renfrow. Nobody knew this guy could play worth the look outside of playing at Clemson. But you looked at the guy on Hard Knocks, and we all thought this guy, you blow on him, he's going to fall over. I mean, but he is tougher than nails. He's very durable. You bring in some key guys like Nelson Aguilar that could get back to his heyday. This guy had a couple good years before he had the drops. He's there with Philly. We still don't know about Zay Jones, if he'll be part of the mix. But I will tell you, for USCC fans that know your college football, Brian Edwards is the real freaking deal.
Yeah,
so I know everybody concentrating on Henry Ruggs III, but remember, Ruggs III played with 3 other great wide receivers. You had Waddle, you had Devonta Smith, and of course you had Jerry Jeudy on that same receiving corps for Bama. For South Carolina, you didn't have those guys. Brian Edwards was the kingpin. He was hurt last year, foot injury, missed a couple games, but this guy, 6'3", 215, and this guy can make catches that'll blow your mind. This guy is going to be a big-time player. He stays healthy. He is a big-time player, and the Raiders got him at number 81. I thought that was an awesome pick, and I know they went receiver-heavy, and people are like, what are you doing? Address the defense. Look, we didn't know how good Arnett is, and maybe we don't, but we knew that Okudah was the guy out of Ohio State that got all the press. But this guy, Arnett, can flat-out play. I've watched film on him, and I watched Bayot break it down, and also Prisco from CBS. These guys said that this guy, press coverage, is tight. He's good. He's going to make mistakes, but, what rookie's not going to make mistakes? Trayvon Mullen made mistakes last year. Jonathan Abram would have made some. So he's stepping in. Remember, Abram only played 1 game last year. Cleveland Farrell got better as the year went on, but what did we do free agency? We had the best free agent class of any freaking team. We grabbed Carl Nassib. That guy had 6.5 sacks in 14 games last year for Tampa.
Oh, tell me. Yeah.
Farrell.
Yeah.
I'm telling you straight up. And then you look at Corey Littleton. We grabbed the best free. He's the best free agent of anybody. Look, I know DeAndre Hopkins went to Arizona. That was a bonehead trade by O'Brien. But Corey Littleton, 134 tackles. This guy's the real deal. He'll cover any running back, any tight end. He can take them. Laterally, he's one of the best. And then you grab Kwiatkowski from the Bears. This guy's another linebacker in the making. We get Max Crosby, a fourth-rounder out of Eastern Michigan, step up and be the man last year. We have Marinelli come over from the Cowboys. So we grabbed the old man Witten. He wanted to come over. But how cool is that to tutor a guy like Darren Waller that had 90 receptions but only 3 touchdowns? So you bring Witten in. This guy's going to show him how to get position inside that red zone, to use your body, to be that guy, so that when you have 90 receptions this year, you got 13 touchdowns instead of 3. And then you look at some of the other guys that they grabbed. They just grabbed Prince, Amukamara coming over. They grabbed Demarius Randall. Had a lousy year for Cleveland last year, but the year before for Green Bay was pretty darn good. You've got LaMarcus Joyner now, maybe able to go back to nickelback or safety. Amick Robertson, don't forget this kid out of Louisiana Tech. He's a short guy, but he can flat out. He's got hops and he can play. There's depth there. You grab Jeff Heath coming over from Dallas as well, a strong safety. So Marinelli comes over, and he brings 3 guys with him because Malik Collins wants to play for him, Jeff Heath wants to play, and then, of course, Witten comes over and says, you know what, it's my decision. I could stay and wear that star on my helmet, but I see something happening with Gruden and Mayock. And anybody that knows football, this combination is lethal. So why we question him on Arnett in the first round with that number 19 pick, don't question Mike Mayock. He's the best assessor of college talent there is. McShay, Kuiper, I don't give a crap. There's nobody better than Mike Mayock assessing college talent.
And remember, he also brought over Rush, the other defensive tackle from the Cowboys, with him too. So 4 Cowboys, 3 on defense, and Jason Witten. That's a good haul. And actually, the fact that his son-in-law was the linebackers coach with the Rams knew so much about Littleton and just paved the way for that transition to come in as well.
That was awesome, man. And look, hey, I also saw, people saying, hey, you know what, find a kicker, da-da-da. Listen, Daniel Carlson, he struggled the second half of last year, but he was automatic before then. I'm hoping he gets back. The kid Everly that they grabbed out of Utah State, this kid's got a leg and a half, but I think Carlson can get back to some normalcy. And let's remember last year, A.J. Cole stepped in, man. That kid was outstanding. I mean, he flipped the field. I know as a Raider fan, you get spoiled. You talk about, the Ray Guy Award, and then you got guys like Shane Leckler. I mean, forget about it. And you Janikowski for all these years. The kicking game's always something the Raiders have had an edge on teams. And I think A.J. Cole is a real deal as far as a punter. And I'm hoping Carlson can get back to that guy we saw, for the first 15 games of his career, because he's definitely got potential. But when you look at the depth between the team that Gruden took over and the team now, it's night and day. They had the greatest draft last year, the best free agent class, and then a decent draft right now, only because what we know on this year, we had, far less picks, far less amount of picks. And they grabbed Arnett at 19. We don't know. But remember, they didn't have a number 2 pick. And those third-round picks, they had 3 of them, but they didn't want to trade any of those. And so people said, well, you could have gotten Arnett in the second round, and you could have traded down the 19 and traded down into the second round, maybe grabbed another pick. I don't think Mayock wanted to do that. Remember, he took Cleveland Farrell at number 4 last year, and it's only because he didn't want to shift his picks in the first round. They had 3 of them last year, but he didn't want to shift those picks, and he didn't think Farrell would be around later on when the Raiders' second first-round pick was coming up, where they grabbed Josh Jacobs, and then of course they grabbed Abram with that 3rd first-round pick, and then they grabbed Mullen right there at the beginning of the second round. So this team, to me, is just, it's got potential. This team has got potential. When you look at Kansas City in the AFC, okay, we look at Tyreek Hill, and we look at Sammy Watkins and Kelsey underneath, and then they grabbed McCole Hardman last year, and they were kind of lucky as far as, because they weren't focused in on McCole Hardman out of Georgia. But what happened was, with Tyreek Hill getting into trouble off the field, they were in danger of losing him, they thought, for probably 8 games to a suspension. Turned out there was no suspension. He hurt the hammy a little bit in game 1, so he didn't play the Raiders in week 2. They missed him. We thought he was going to miss because of a suspension, but like I said, that never transpired. But when you look at that collective speed, and they've got DeMarcus Robinson, he's not the fastest, but he's a good, solid receiver. That's the advantage that KC has. And now, of course, grabbing Edwards-Helaire from LSU will help them out of the backfield as well. And then you have Mahomes, who's very durable and somebody that takes advantage of the rules. When you're a quarterback in this league and you can get outside the tackle box, throw the ball away to the line of scrimmage, and or running baseball slide like Mahomes does, you're not going to be touched half the times. That's what Derek Carr needs to do more of. Don't just be a pocket passer. And now you have no excuse. Pocket passer, throw the ball down the freaking field. You got Ruggs, you got a healthy Williams, you've got Renfro that can run, you've got Edwards, you've got receivers. Now, we don't know, like I said, if Zay Jones will be in the mix. There's still some other guys, some question marks. But you got to throw the ball deep down the field. If you do that, even if it's incomplete, then you have the safeties thinking, hey, is this guy going to go deep? I don't want to get burned. I don't want to get embarrassed. Stop with the 6, 7, 8-yard passes all the time. Stretch the field. Take advantage. You've got Jacobs. You've got Richard out of the backfield. You've got a great tight end in Waller, but Waller needs to run underneath the way Kelsey does, because when you send Tyreek Hill and you send Sammy Watkins, what does Kelsey do? He curls underneath those two guys, and one of them's going to have one-on-one, and that's the one you're going to hit. So you got to take advantage of it. I think Gruden sees that. I think this Raider team, folks, 11-5, 10-6, like I said, that's my true gut feeling. But I'm telling you, the ceiling is high, and the way everything's going, you know what? You give me Gruden and Mayock together, I just have a feeling, man. I think the future is so huge for this organization, and for the first time that I've seen it here in Vegas, the sports books are behind. And the only one that agrees with me is Brent Musburger. And Musburger knows, man. He knows. He's calling these games. You can see it. Like I said, I'm friends with Lincoln Kennedy. This team, to me, is night and day, at least on paper, what it was last year, and night and day, big time, to what it was 2 years ago when Gruden took over.
Yeah, actually, I might have to send you something via PayPal and to put a little tiny wager, because I would planned on coming out there to do such, and it looks like I won't be able to. So we'll do a little bit of chatting offline on that. But yeah, I'm definitely good for at least two prop bets for that. Now, having said that,
Jack, the Raiders are 10-1 to win the AFC West. Look, like I said, I know KC's there. Hey, you know what? You win a Super Bowl, sometimes teams become a little
right,
a little fat
yeah,
and happy.
Yeah.
You know what? Raiders are hungry, baby. And right now, it used to be when Gruden first took over, hey, guys thought, hey, I'm good. I've been here. I'm good. Well, a lot of those guys that were there are gone. And remember last year, Antonio Brown, as big a clown as he was, and we found out the shenanigans, all that bull crap this guy did to our organization, that playbook, that Raider offensive playbook, was built around his ass. Because as crazy and nut as he is, he still was a talent. And so the plays that he wasn't going to get the ball, he was still going to be a decoy. So he was involved in all this stuff. All of a sudden, Gruden's got to scramble with Olsen, and they got to come up with a whole new set of plays. And somehow, some way, if I told you they'd be 6-4 after 10 games and playing Kansas City with a chance to move into first place, you'd have told me I was nuts. But that's the chance that they had.
Yeah.
And that's how close to that team. And remember, they get jobbed on the Jacksonville game on the Carr slide because he stays in bounds. They get screwed on, the Houston Texans game as well. And, then the Denver game, they'd have never gone for 2 at the end because they wouldn't have needed to.
Right.
They would have, they could have played for overtime. So that team that close to winning 8-9 games last year, and now look at the free agency class. Are you kidding me? On top of the draft to add to this roster. See, and remember this too. This is the one thing I said, because all of you, and there's a bunch of you out there that are listening, and you'll deny it, but you all hated Gruden when he traded Khalil Mack. You hated him because no one wants to give up number 52 because he bled silver and black.
50 who?
You had to do it.
50
right.
50 who? That's what on my show we call him 50 who, Ken. 50 who.
You know what? And here's the thing too. When he went to the Bears, yeah, his first 5 games he was dynamic. He hasn't done jack in the last bunch of games, man. You know why? Because teams are figuring him out.
Right.
And it's not always that he's double teamed. People say that he's double teamed. There were many games that he wasn't. He's just lost his step. And hey, bottom line, you know what? It was the greatest thing the Raiders did because 35% of their salary cap was going to be on Derek Carr, Khalil Mack, and Amari Cooper. Cooper gone, Mack gone. We get all these first-round picks. We've got players. You can't use 65% of your salary cap for 50 players.
That's right.
That's why this roster now pales in comparison to what it was 2 years ago. It's incredible.
Now, and I tell you, if you have missed Ken's synopsis of the Raiders composition as of now, make sure just go back, rewind this, and use it to your benefit. But having said that, okay, because I'm old school, you're old school,
who are the Raiders of old, okay, that you have the most fondness? I mean, I know you talked about Tom Flores before being a great guy that he is, but who are your favorite Raiders of the past legendary Raiders?
You know, there's never been a tandem that hit people over the middle like Atkinson and Tatum, man. And, you know, Atkinson was a piece of work, and I love George, man. I know, actually, I've done some functions with George Jr., and he's had some tough times, man, the passing of his son, and just, you know, but a super guy. But some of that old school stuff, the way those guys hit, man. And, yeah, you know what? Back in the day, it wasn't like you were helping the other guy up from the other team. I mean, this is old school football. Bolitnikov. Are you kidding me? If it's 3rd and 11, you know Bolitnikov won 12.5 yards. You never had to sweat whether or not that guy went the proper distance to get you that key first down. You know, Casper was another guy that just made incredible plays. Boy, there's so many great ones throughout the. How about Rod Martin? I mean, this guy, of course, Super Bowl MVP. How he gets jobbed out of that with 3 interceptions. One of the biggest jokes. And of course, I know number 53 very well. And of course, number 21. I wrote a poem about Cliff Branch after he passed away. Cliff used to come into Vegas and we'd hang out. He loved Vegas. But man, this guy just loved people and just a superhuman being. And I used to call and talk to him because I know he lived by himself. And, you know, he'd come on the radio show all the time, the soft-spoken Cliff Branch. And I asked him, I said, Cliff, I said, you grew up in Houston. I said, I don't get it, man. I go, the Southwest Conference was so good back in the day. I mean, that was the Texas Longhorns and, I mean, all that stuff. That was the greatest football. Why'd you end up going to Colorado? And he told me, KT, they still had segregation. And so, you know, I'm not even thinking that, you know, mid-60s and stuff, here he is. Still has segregation. Southwest Conference didn't have African-American players, so he went on to Colorado, ran track, and played there and made his mark there. But, yeah, so many great Raiders. I mean, I'm just actually, I've got the books out, Badasses, John Madden, and I got Cheating is Encouraged is another good one. And then Ken Stabler, The Snake, I'm reading that one right now, too. Snake was another guy that just, you don't think the guy's really physically gifted, but he just made plays. So when I see the combine all the time, and look, Henry Ruggs III was the fastest at the combine, and that's good. I'll take that. But a lot of that stuff that's done there, you guys aren't wearing equipment. I mean, guys making over-the-shoulder catches, that's great. Can you do it with a helmet on? Can you do it with somebody draped all over you? Those are things that resonate with me as far as where are you going to be on a 3rd and 12 if you're in that secondary? Are you going to be on the right side of the field like Troy Polamalu or even a Zach Thomas? These are guys that couldn't win jack as far as a combine, but yet those were guys that were in the right place, right time, and the Raiders have had many of those guys, just good football players. Bolitnikov wasn't a guy who's going to win any combine awards, but he's sure going to be in the right place, right time with the game on the line. Those are guys that you want on your team, and I think the Raiders have a lot of them now on that roster.
Yeah, actually, Ken, I'm looking at that one top shelf, if you can see it over my shoulder. Hey, wait a minute, I wrote a book, Better to Reign in Hell. The original, they call me Assassin, with the other ones that come in, Snake, Black Knights, Cruising with the Twos, Badasses, Just Win Baby.
Okay, so yeah, you know what, you got in with Twos. You got that guy walk to the beat of his own drum, and also as a USC fan, Darryl Russell, I don't forget him as well. But you know, Alzado being Brooklyn, he's a Brooklyn guy as well, and you know, tough what happened with Alzado. But Yamato, I mean, when you start thinking of those guys, Upshaw, Shell, I mean, you got to have, they're not glorified at that position on the offensive line like they are now. Now you know some of those left tackles, those high-priced left tackles, or some of those offensive linemen. But those guys were the guys that did the blue-collar work that didn't get a lot of reps back in the day, but the Raiders had some of the best as far as that offensive line.
Yeah, I was just saying that entire top shelf up there, they're all Raider books. They're all like row for row. I got a whole row of Raider books just on that top shelf, and so whenever I said, yeah, I want to do some reading, I just pop that. So I tell you, listening to you just wants me to go out
and put my pads. I got some pads in my garage that I'm probably going to put in for a garage sale. Just wants me to put my pads back on and get one of the oversized jerseys that I have and go out there and start knocking heads. And I don't need a helmet, man. I don't need a helmet. I'm ready to go through a wall with my pads on, even without a helmet, because listening to you, I know, is inspiring to all the people that are out there that are true silver and black fans, fanatical of the keyword of
fan
fans.
base in the world, man. Greatest fan base in the world, second to none. And like I said, there's a lot of great fan bases. Nothing close to Raider Nation.
Well, I tell you, Ken, I don't know what else to ask, and I don't want to keep you on too long. As I know you got your show prep for tonight, and it's been a real pleasure to have you here on my show. And I thank you for sending out some of the swag that I'll add to that grab bag for my subscribers. And again, great entertainment here on my broadcast. And again, if you're not listening to Ken either on the internet with at KDWN, if you're down there in Vegas, or SportsXRadio, Ken, make sure everybody knows how to get a hold of you so they get a chance to listen to you personally and get the best information.
Yeah, my show is 8 to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday out here in Vegas. It's 7:20 a.m. 101.5 FM KDWN, KDWN, and you can download that Google Play or iTunes. That's a free app. And also SportsXRadio.com. The show Sports, the letter X Radio, SportsXRadio.com. The archives are put up on the homepage 11:30 p.m. Pacific every night, Monday through Friday. And if you follow at SportsXRadio, you'll get it tweeted right there to you. And it's a 2-hour broadcast with no commercials, so it's about an hour 40, and that's Monday through Friday. And I've got some great guests. Just tonight, Mark Lawrence, one of the best handicappers, got a great book. The Playbook comes out. He does some writing for the USA Today every day. Then Nick Bogdanovich, the racing sports director of William Hill out here in Vegas. And then our number 2, got Brad Powers. And Brad will come on, and Brad will say, if you like college football, there's nobody who knows more about college football than Brad Powers and Joe Lisi, and both are regulars on my show. So we hit all the sports, but we always hit the Greater Nation talk. And in fact, JT the Brick will be on the show next Wednesday, the 27th at 9:05 Pacific. JT the Brick already booked for an hour. And lots of Raiders, both current and alumni. And of course, as the season gets rolling and we get back to some type of normalcy, Will Kiss is the media relations guy, and he'll connect with some other interviews. And anytime you guys need anything, just contact me, Ken at SportsXRadio.com, or email me on Twitter. And if you're coming out to Vegas, love to connect with you. Normally the show is at the Venetian Palazzo 4 nights a week, and at Steiner's Pub on Wednesday, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday over on the Palazzo side of the Venetian. And, love to see you when you make it in town. Captain Jack, love you, brother. You're outstanding what you do, and you're one of those fans, and I need to hear a "arr" before I leave.
Only for you, and I'm going to get away from the microphone, but I can't get too far away because I got on short shorts, and I don't want to, gross out all of the male audience here. But I want to bust the levels. But for you, and I love doing this for you, Ken, because again, I love you, brother, and that's no bullshit. The fact that we've connected, and the pure adrenaline and rush and the brotherhood that we have for my boy, Ken Thomson. Yeah, Raider Nation.
There you go, man. You look the part, though, too, Captain. I mean, that's a real life beard, too, man.
Oh yeah.
People tug on it, man, and kids tug on it, going, "There's no way that's a real beard." But that's an awesome beard. Man.
Yeah, and the hair is real too, and it's like. I definitely, my stylist is like, "Are you ready for a haircut yet?" And I says, "Yes, I'm ready, but I need to make sure that things are okay for me to go out there." And she does a really good job with the beard, and she's going to work on my cheeks and, get this trimmed up and do the hair. But yeah, great stylist over here who is a Raider fan, by the way.
Let it go. Just let it go.
I can't wait to see her because she's going to clean it all up for me. And when I get out to Vegas, trust me, and I wanted to say again, I appreciated you were going to put me up at your house for the draft, and I hope that offer still stands in 2022. Don Webb is out there. I got places to hang out with. I definitely want to have
some good times with all my folks out in Vegas, and I appreciated you putting that up for me. And when I am out there, trust me, I will be in on I'll come out early, and I will be in on any show that you want me to be at. I'll dress, and we'll have a great time for sure.
Outstanding, man. Look forward to it, Captain Jack, man. Appreciate you as always, and look forward to you being back on SportsX Radio next week.
Yeah, let me know. Give me a text, say what night do you want, and I will be there with spades.
There you go. Great stuff, Captain. God bless, brother.
Bless you, sir. And thanks again, and appreciate you coming on there, Ken.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, and God bless Raider Nation. Raider Nation for life. God bless. KT is out.
All right, and it's great hearing from Ken Thomson. Enjoy that. I'm trying to find the phone that I had him on. It's here somewhere. There we go. Yeah, Google Hangouts. Ken, I love. Just listening to him go on and on about the way this team is going to present itself and what we got going on. Fantastic. And we got some new outro music that I have here as well. I was going through some old CDs and DVDs, man. Listen to this, okay? Raider Fight by Bludgeonator. And I got it right here. And it's like I said, I had a whole pack of just really cool Raider things that I've been going through. The original CD and DVD for Bludgeonator. And I don't know if they're still around, but I wanted to make sure that I gave them the due credit that they had for this really kick-ass song. I'm hoping that y'all like it as well, because I like to have the good rock. I start the shows with the Latin music, get you in the mood, and we got that going on. And then, of course, Fast Eddie Rice's version of The Autumn Wind will get you, into that Raider mood as well. And then I was listening here, Raider Fight by Bludgeonator. I want to throw some 4-Dub. I'm going to go with 4-Dub. I'm going to talk to Aaron and Shalif and see which ones that they don't mind me playing. I'll incorporate some of their stuff because great things. By the way, if you haven't gotten to the latest 4-Dub, I think they're on. It's either album 6 or album 8. It doesn't matter what number it is. Go out and get yourself the latest 4-Dub for everybody. And while we're here as well, again, thank you to Ken Thomson, KDWN, and SportsX Radio out there. Look them up. Get all your great Raider information. Obviously, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Ken just threw in some extra things for the grab bag that's really going to be great for everybody. Make sure you are listening to Raider Homer. And, if you're not, just God help you, man. I don't know why. And I'm gonna get this right because I had it. It's For Life, Our Raider Story. For Life, Our Raider Story. I got it right this time. They are on YouTube. T3 it does the Raider stuff here on YouTube. You got the Mojo podcast. You obviously got the Ladies of Darkness. Go listen to them. Angria and Jenny and Heidi. Didn't want to forget them. Great Raider entertainment is coming by. Make sure you are here. Obviously, Thursday, we'll have our regular call-in show. Friday, Jerry Robinson, the Raider linebacker, is going to be here 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, interview with Jerry Robinson. And then on Sunday, Wayne Mabry, the Violator, here in-house, well, via the phone line, for the show. And I can't wait for it. So until then, it's always great. It's always great to have you here. Make sure you're listening up. I enjoyed it. Thank you there again, Ken Thomson. And I just love being here. And if I want to hang out with you more often, make sure you are subscribed. So again, thanks again. Go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/C/Captain Jack Rackham Levy. We'll see you up for all the rest of the shows. And I'm going to do it one more time because Ken said he wanted me to do it. Yeah, Raider Nation. We'll see you for the Thursday show, the Friday show with my boy, Mr. Robinson. We love Jerry. Jerry's a great guy. And then again on Sunday, Violator and Wayne Mabry. We'll see y'all coming up. Make sure you're here on this channel. And thanks again. We'll see you soon. Raider on, baby.